All right, let's talk about the job interview. For so many of us, it feels like this high-pressure test. But today, we're going to deconstruct it and show you how to see it for what it really is, a game you can absolutely win.
So I want you to just think about this for a second. What if the interview wasn't a test at all? What if it was something else entirely? Maybe a structured game where you already know all the rules and exactly how to win.
Well, that's pretty much what it is. An interview is a predictable interaction. The company isn't trying to trick you, no. They're just trying to solve their own problem by answering 3 fundamental questions.
And here they are. Seriously, every single question you're ever going to get asked, from tell me about yourself to what's your greatest weakness, it's all just a different way of asking one of these 3 things. Can you actually do the work? Are you going to be motivated and stick around? And honestly, are you someone we can imagine working with day in and day out?
Okay, so if you want to master this game, you've got to understand the game board, right? And that starts with breaking down the interview itself and, more importantly, completely shifting your mindset.
Now, that sounds a little academic, I know, but it reframes the whole thing. It's not just a simple Q&A. It's a strategic interface. You aren't just a passive applicant waiting for the next question. You are an active partner in a conversation, and you're using your story to persuade them.
Here's the thing about that conversation. It has a very predictable flow. Turns out, pretty much every interview follows a 4-phase roadmap. If you understand these phases, you can manage your energy and stay focused the entire time.
So here's the entire arc of the interview. Phase 1, the intro. That's all about first impressions and building rapport. Phase 2 is the narrative. That's where you deliver your personal pitch. Phase 3, the core assessment. That's the longest part, where they really dig in and verify your skills. And finally, Phase 4 is your chance to close strong. Each one has a totally different goal and requires a different strategy from you.
So to navigate this roadmap effectively, you're going to need the right tools. So let's look at 2 absolutely essential frameworks for structuring your story to have the biggest possible impact.
First up, we have the Present, Past, Future Framework, or PPF. And this is your secret weapon for that opening question we all dread. So tell me about yourself. It helps you turn what could be a boring walk through your resume into a really compelling pitch.
It's so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You start with the present, what you do right now, and one key achievement. Then you link it to the past, but you only pick out 2 or 3 of the most relevant experiences. And finally, you bring it all together and pivot to the future, explaining exactly why this role is the perfect next step for you.
Okay, next up in your toolkit is the STAR method. This is the absolute gold standard for answering behavioral questions. The ones that start with, tell me about a time when. It's how you give concrete proof of your skills instead of just talking about them.
So the structure is situation, task, action, and result. You quickly set the scene, you state what your goal was, you detail the specific actions that you personally took, and then you deliver a measurable outcome. The most critical part here, and people mess this up all the time, is focusing on what you did, not just what the team did. In fact, that action part, that's the absolute heart of your answer. It should make up about 60% of your total response. This is where you prove you can do the job, not by talking about what we did, but by explaining what you specifically contributed.
And the difference is just night and day. The vague answer is totally forgettable. The star-powered answer, though, it's specific, it's credible, and it's packed with impact. You're literally handing the interviewer concrete evidence of your value.
All right, let's tackle the one question that makes everyone's palms sweat. So, what is your greatest weakness? Look, this isn't a trap. It's what you'd call a manageable stress test. They just want to see if you're self-aware. The strategy here is actually really simple. State of real but manageable weakness, and then immediately follow it up with your active plan to fix it. Whether it's a skill gap you're closing with an online course or a behavioral habit you're improving through practice, this approach shows humility and a real commitment to growth.
Now, the end of the interview is not the time to check out and relax. This is a critical moment. It's your last chance to really solidify your position and leave a fantastic final impression. We call this the strategic close.
They call this phase the reversal for a very good reason. When the interviewer finally says, "So, do you have any questions for me?" the entire power dynamic just flips. This is your chance to show how curious and strategic you really are.
Please do not ask about vacation time here. Ask questions that prove you've done your homework and you're already thinking like you're part of the team. Questions about their strategy, about what success looks like, about team culture. These show you are a serious contender.
And then, right before you leave, you use something called the soft close. This question is so powerful. It gives you one last chance to address any unspoken concerns they might have. It shows confidence and a real desire to clear up any final doubts before you walk out the door. So you see, the interview isn't an interrogation. It's a performance. It has a script, it has predictable phases, and there are proven techniques to master it. Now that you know the rules of the game, it's time to stop feeling like just an actor reading lines and start being the director of your own story.